and our hellos.
Yes.
So, yeah, look, I know that you work with different programs, not just Erasmus Plus. You work with programs with the United States as well through Viaa. So, what do you think is the greatest benefit of Erasmus Plus or similar programs?
What I noticed with my students who go abroad, or the students that come to the Netherlands to study for a semester, is the added benefit of getting to know a different culture, of being in a different place away from home. Is usually in a time for students where they are on a quest for their identity as well, of becoming adults and finding out who they are. And I think if that intertwines with going to another country and be there and be independent and having to make your own decisions, I think it's a big plus, like a personal development as well.
And we've seen that without naming any names. We together have seen that with a good few students. The soft skills, the independence. Do you feel more comfortable sending students abroad through structured programs such as Erasmus Plus?
Yeah, so I've had experiences with both. Also in my past, when I was teaching vocational, I've sent students to unstructured programs. So basically just companies who said like, hey, can we have some of your students? And we'd have to arrange everything ourselves, the housing, everything that goes with it. Of course, when it's a structured program, it makes it so much easier because usually the people who are receiving your students, what they can expect. You can also explain a lot to the students what they can expect. So there are less unexpected situations, so that makes it easier. Of course, there's always the thrill of unstructured programs, and for some students that works really well. But in general, so structured programs help a lot to know what you can expect and to organize everything well.
Yeah. And do you think the structure helps the student develop those soft skills that we spoke about? If they have a helping hand, or if it's structured and the college and the partner that you're sending them to?
Yeah, and also that I think, so I've seen with students who went on unstructured program, let's just call them that for now. Of course, when problems arise in those situations, they will have to have strong problem solving skills, because there's no one they can go back to, or they can phone me up, but I'll be on the other side of the world. So it requires a lot more independence and critical thinking of the students. Whereas when you have these structured programs that are set and we know what we can expect, there's usually someone in the area that can help them, that can talk to them, even provide some counseling if necessary.
That's very interesting, because I didn't think about that aspect of it. If it's an unstructured program, it might actually force them out of their box a little bit more. But
definitely.
Okay. I suppose this is a silly question, seeing as I was sitting in the Netherlands with you and Dave and turned a Mexican restaurant a couple of months ago. But do you believe that Erasmus Plus builds strong bonds between EU countries and citizens?
I definitely think so. From all the students that I've sent into the EU over the years, I noticed that they've come to appreciate the culture they were in. As long as they don't stay in the Erasmus bubble too much, that happens sometimes, in different countries where there's like an Erasmus bubble of international students. But as soon as they get out of those bubbles and they get into the culture, local culture, which is easier, by the way, in Ireland than in any other country, maybe. But they've really come to appreciate the culture. Like, for example, one of my students who actually did an Erasmus in Spain when he was in vocational school, he just graduated college. And he told me that he's actually moving to Spain with his wife to there for a while, because he said, like, it started such a good connection for me when I was there the first time, that I really want to go back and spend time there.
Wow.
So it tells me something about the lasting impact it can have on a young person.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Interesting. Post-COVID-19.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a more important or less important place for programs like Erasmus Plus?
So what I think is that COVID taught us to think differently on many aspects in education and learning. So when I look at the future, I think we need to be more versatile in the way we offer internationalization in universities, in all kinds of programs. I think the need will still be there for students to go abroad to actually experience it. I think also many universities might look at different ways to do online things and to say like, hey, how can we bridge the distance through online cooperation with schools, with with work placements. I think that part of Erasmus could get a really big boost from what happened in the past months.
Yeah. I've been speaking with our old colleague Udo, well, your old colleague, I still work with Udo, but that's one of the things he mentioned. In future, is it necessary for the amount of travel that coordinators do, for example?
Yeah.
Can you do them doing what we're doing now, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, teleconferencing?
That's going to be a big difference.
Big difference, and it's greener, but it's also going to, back 7-8 years ago, we were meeting face to face and talking on the phone. If we'd have been able to connect and get to know each other via Teams first, it's going to make it, I think.
And I think we had Skype back then, all those things, but we never really thought to use them in this way. And I know that in Ireland we started doing exams with students through Skype, and we would actually phone in and actually talk to their manager, so we've been doing that, but now that everyone has been forced to go online and to communicate through those means, I think that will have an impact on internationalization.
Funnily enough, with your old students in Menso Alting, with David now who works with them, I had actually started contacting them via Skype or even via WhatsApp for just a quick call, or 2 or 3 quick calls for 3 or 4 weeks before they'd arrive in Ireland, just to calm them down, settle them, and it really helps. So I think you're right. We've been forced to do this, and everybody's going to be more comfortable with it. So it'll probably complement programs.
So, and also, I think for some aspects of an international experience, you need to be in the country. For example, so you were saying earlier, like I do these programs with American students who come to Viaa University for a semester, and so their program was cut short this year because they were supposed to be here from January to May. Then in March, they had to leave overnight almost. It was very fast. And we tried to continue the program online. And it proved to be very difficult because they were in different time zones in the United States. We had to get together with groups and we evaluated at the end of the program. And all of the staff and also the students said, like, this program should not be run digitally because it's all the experience, as well, being in a different culture, hearing a different language, having to adjust to these social rules and all those things. And that, I think that's a major part of an Erasmus experience or any other program. But
I agree. When I'm in the Netherlands, there's a certain feel to the environment, the sounds, the trains, the accents, the people, the climate. It is part of the experience, definitely. And that actually brings us to the last question, and it's quite interesting. The last question was, do you think that freedom of movement for EU citizens and similar laws between countries makes Erasmus Plus easier to participate in? Now let's contrast that, I suppose, with your one with the States. I suppose the benefits are the exact same. It's just that ease of travel, and I don't think it's a one versus another. It's just something, I suppose, to bear in mind.
Yeah, I think so, because the EU is so much easier on traveling and exchanging things. It makes it very easy for students to actually spend that time abroad and to not worry too much about visa, about high tuition, or all those things. Whereas when we work with students from outside the EU, it's much more difficult because there's a lot more to arrange and to do. You have the same experience, I think, with CIELS. So I think it's great that within the EU we have that freedom of movement, and we can actually work together easily and find common ground. And I think in the future, if we could even calibrate that more with different universities, with different companies, I think that's a really good foundation to do amazing things with students on a European level.
And I think, we have discussed this before, but that's exactly what I think. Okay, there are problems with everything. There's problems with the EU, but some of the good things are the mobility and the similar laws. Even though cultures might be different, there are common laws, and it does make it a lot easier. And they're the ones we should take full advantage of and embrace.